The recent discussion document issued by HMRC, Strengthening Tax Avoidance Sanctions and Deterrent, aims to influence the behaviours of all of those involved in the supply chain of a tax avoidance arrangement. We've had previous fairly concerted action against the promoters of tax avoidance schemes, those who design and promote a tax avoidance scheme with the POTAS provisions, the providers of tax avoidance schemes provisions. But this looks to extend the sanction regime wider than that and involve and affect all of those involved in the promotion, facilitation, enabling, marketing of tax avoidance schemes. So those that will be affected, the first thing to consider, are those who are involved in that supply chain. At any point, you could be a financial advisor who's involved in the introduction of someone to someone else who will facilitate the tax avoidance arrangements. Those who merely give advice on a pure legal point will probably be excluded. This is all a discussion document, by the way. And those who are inadvertently involved will be excluded. And all that's up for debate, but broadly, anyone involved in the supply chain. But we can come down a little bit from so-called DEFCON 3 by saying every financial advisor could be in court in everything, because it's only schemes that are attacked by HMRC that are relevant here, and of course only those schemes that then are successfully attacked. So what does that mean? What it means, only schemes that are defeated by HMRC. To be defeated, you need to have a game to start with. So you will only be attacked by HMRC if it's a scheme that goes against the principles or the hard terms of legislation. So arrangements such as pensions, ISAs, etc., that we all use in everyday tax planning, facilitated clearly by legislation, is not going to be caught. So you don't need to worry about those arrangements. If you are attacked, however, then what constitutes a defeat with HMRC? Well, it's a final determination by the tribunal or a court that says the purported outcome, the tax advantage that was sought to be achieved, wasn't achieved, and that is finally determined by a tribunal or court. Then that arrangement, which was attacked in the first place, has been successfully defeated. Then the sanctions can be imposed to all of those involved in the supply chain. What are the sanctions? Again, what's been put forward is a range of options, but the one that seems to be put forward most strongly is a sanction that is the hire of £3,000 or 100% of the tax that was sought to be avoided. So this is quite interesting, because how much of that sanction will be applied to each of the parties in the supply chain? Well, at worst, it could be every one of the persons involved in the supply chain to that particular individual will be hit with a sanction of 100% of the tax sought to be avoided. So that's a massive haul to HMRC. Or it may be that some kind of apportionment will be arrived at. And that's one of the things that's up for debate. But the thing to take from all of this is that, okay, the discussion document and responses to the discussion document are required by early October, and that this discussion document is not aimed at tried and tested arrangements that you know and love in the financial planning context, the design of a financial planning strategy for your clients, collectives, EIS, VCT, BPR schemes, pensions, ISAs, offshore bonds. All of that permitted by the legislation is not what this legislation is targeting. We'll be keeping up to date with the responses, and then the response to the responses and the final outcome within Techlink. So I would encourage you to have a look at the bulletins regularly if this is a subject that interests you. Broadly, the message coming from this stage of the discussion document should be quite reassuring for financial planners.